Poetry Analysis Project by Nick Smith, Mason Cout, and Maddie McNulty. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it's queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
Detailed commentary for stopping by Woods on a snowy evening. His house is in the village, though. The narrator reveals his neighbor's house is located in the village. It calls to mind the earlier ages of our world when neighborhoods didn't exist and villages were more common places to live. Between the woods and frozen lake. This detail reveals where the farmhouse exists in the previous sentence and describes the elements of nature that surround the narrator. Miles to go before I sleep. This describes the author's long trek he must endure to reach his house. This use of detail forces the reader to believe the day is old and the author had a long day as he wishes to sleep. Diction commentary for stopping by Woods on a snowy evening. Village. The word village brings to mind a small, tight-knit group of people that can overcome any obstacle together. Evening. This word creates a sense of darkness approaching, making the reader feel uncomfortable in anticipation for an upcoming event. Promises. This word reminds the reader of the movie Hunger Games, in which Katniss Everdeen promises to protect her sister at all costs, even if that means risking her own life. This displays the strength that a promise holds between two people. Imagery commentary. Watch as woods fill up with snow. This depicts the endless amounts of snow that piles up around his house received during the winter time. The inescapable mountain of snow leaves you trapped in the comfy and warm enclosure of your home. Between the woods and frozen lake. This image reveals the frosty and serene environment of the narrator and horse's snowy location. Gives his harness bells a shake. This action refers to the wintry sound of joyful bells being rung, perhaps around Christmas time when Santa delivers presents in the snowy evening. The overall tone and theme. Tone, somber and desolate. Theme, isolation. PAP for stopping by Woods on a snowy evening. Frost's use of poignant diction in stopping by Woods on a snowy evening conveys a somber and desolate tone. While the narrator travels into the woods on one of the darkest nights of the year, he abruptly stops near the frozen lake. The beauty of nature surrounding the persona grasps his attention and obstructs his journey. He examines the gloom around him through the isolated woods and lack of life. Later, realizing he has miles left to discover of the dark and deep woods, he resumes his journey in search of sleep. After pondering over the charm that lays beside, he knows of the long journey ahead of him. To get his desired sleep, the narrator must escape the dismal environment which imprisons him. Through the diction which characterizes the darker elements of nature, a dim and dreary tone is created.
I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over valleys and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretch in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Detail commentary. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, This piece of detail builds the idea of explaining that the daffodils are very numerous and exist all around the narrator. Golden daffodils. This piece of detail adds to the extravagant brightness of the flowers. It makes the flower greater than an original piece of nature, adding luxury and beauty to the daffodils. Along the margin of a bay. Depicts a warm area during the spring or summer filled with golden flowers. Diction commentary. Lonely. This word creates a sad and lost effect that is put on the reader. It brings to mind feeling lonely in the world without having anyone to depend on or go to for guidance. Dancing. This depicts a fun and carefree act of expressing one's happiness while enjoying the tune of music. Pleasure. Finding joy in simple things such as enjoying the sound of birds singing or the feeling of sand between your feet. Imagery commentary. Twinkle on the Milky Way. This image allows the reader to fully embrace the beautiful stars within the vast galaxy. On my couch I lie. This statement creates a feeling like home where one feels comfortable and at peace. The waves beside them danced. This image effectively creates a friendly and inviting tone where the reader feels a part of the fun.
Overall tone and theme. Tone, light-hearted and content. Theme, happiness.
PAP for I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. In William Wordsworth's poem, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, vivid imagery paints a picture of experiencing happiness in the solitude of nature. The narrator discovers a host of golden daffodils that appear to be continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. His observation towards the stunning and bountiful flowers defines the overall happiness nature offers the narrator. The numerous stars in the galaxy relates to the countless people on Earth and a sense that individuals belong in the presence of nature. While the daffodils flourish along the margin of a bay, the waves dance beside them, offering their spirited persona unto the narrator. This friendly invitation into nature's company establishes an unbreakable bond between it and Wordsworth. The dancing flowers make for an undeniably carefree and fun environment that nature calls individuals to participate in. Lively imagery in William Wordsworth's I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud presents happiness obtained in the secluded beauty of nature.